Hey there everyone, welcome back to the Dan Cave and welcome to September 2024 on the bench. So, September 2024, big chunk of the way through 2024 of course. We're into the September bench review, so this is a bit of a look back at what's gone on in August. It'll be all the usual stuff, what's been built, what's been bought, what's in progress, random thoughts about future plans, random pictures of things that have happened throughout the last month. So August was, yeah, it was a good month, really good month, but not very good for modelling. So, well, not for me at least, anyway. Well, I say that, but it was and it wasn't. Hopefully, things will become clear as I progress through. So August, I had 2 weeks holiday. So basically, the last 2 weeks I've been away, so very little has been done. Prior to that, some really good modelling sessions. Also been in a model show as well. Spent some of my hard-earned cash as well on a few models along the way. So there's quite a bit this month in the what's been bought section. So yeah, we'll delve into that in a bit. So first things first, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, give it a like as well, and feel free to leave a comment in the comments field down below. So yeah, so there we go. That's the brief intro. So I suppose I suppose on top of the kind of general things I've mentioned, obviously I've mentioned I've been on holidays. Earlier in August, I went to the IPMS Avon show with Thornbury, which is very close to where I live, in South Gloss, just outside Bristol. To that show was once again very good. It seems to be back to its size that it's been at, from a few years ago. Obviously, through things that have happened over the last few years, the show was cancelled a couple of years. It was a little bit smaller when it came back, but it's gone back to the 3 halls. Now, I say 3 halls, they're not Telford size halls, they're kind of basketball court sized halls, but it's still 3 halls, full of clubs, full of traders, lots of displays. So yeah, so that was a really good show. Now, I think it's fair to say it's one of the better shows. Certainly from ones I've been to for one-day shows. There's definitely some good traders this year. Revell were there. That was an interesting site to have one of the manufacturers there, as opposed to just model companies or retail companies as traders. So that was good to see. A lot of the usual traders, some of them familiar from Telford, of course. And yeah, so that was quite a good show, and I did buy a few things as well, which yeah, I was quite pleased with my purchases from that show. So, will I show some pictures? Yeah. So the first bit before we dive into the usual topics, I'm going to run through a few of the, at least my highlights from the show, the things I thought were particularly noteworthy or interesting, or just piqued my interest mainly. So yeah, so let's start with that. So this is just a few highlights that things that piqued my interest from the IPMS Avon show, from the Thornbury show. So first thing for me that kind of piqued my interest, it was not long after I went in actually, was this 48 scale Chipmunk from Airfix. So I think the one on the table, really well built, really nice clean build. I think it piqued my interest because as I mentioned before, I worked at an aircraft museum many years ago. I volunteered at an aircraft museum, and one of the aircraft we had was a Chipmunk in Irish Air Corps colours, because we're based in Ireland. So I am kind of thinking I should pick one of these up at some point and do it in Irish Air Corps colours. So that's why that one particularly piqued my interest. I would say the majority of the other things that kind of piqued my interest were a little bit more the kind of Dio side, like this, not really a Dio, more a vignette, this yellow AA duck towing a Jeep. I just thought that was quite interesting and well done. This underwater scene, again, I like the idea of using the clear resin to to kind of encase models in that kind of underwater type scenario. Really hard thing to do. That one looked very, very well executed. Particularly like this little vignette of this pickup truck rather. Very nicely done. And, you know, once again, that kind of little abandoned vehicle vignette I quite like. I think I'd quite like to do some kind of scene like that at some point. These keep on kind of piquing my interest. And yeah, they give me good inspiration for maybe something to do at some point in the future. But I need to work on my kind of Dio and vignette skills before I could actually get the execution that you kind of see in particularly this one that we're looking at on screen at the moment. Major other things that kind of piqued my interest. Weirdly, some of these trams were very well done. I can't remember. I think it might be an ICM kit or mini art. I think it's a mini art kit. Again, it's just, you know, it's a nice palette. What this particular modeler has done, just that very abandoned look, just looked awesome. Really, really impressed by that. Someone else had done a fantastic layout of an English Electric Lightning with basically based on a picture of an airfield, and then the aircraft is kind of zooming out from it on clear acrylic rods. Again, I thought it was a very good presentation. Then there was some very interesting little vignettes, like this particular one, you know, this Airfix Lost in the Desert. Very, very good. Good puns. John West Tuna with Bite. Again, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, so that was the, I think that was the probably top things that kind of amused me, piqued my interest. I thought were really, really, really good. I mean, again, with a number of shows on throughout the year, and you got Telford, and I went to one in April in the NEC. Certainly with a lot of the clubs that turn up to all of them, you do see people show a lot of the same things. And, you know, that's not to have a go with them. I mean, obviously, when they produce new stuff, they get added to what they display. But obviously, you know, a lot of the time you will see the same models numerous times. So it's always interesting to try and spot the things that are coming up newer as well. And if you go to more and more model shows, obviously you'll see more and more of the same things from the same people and the same clubs. You'll see them evolve over time, but very much so on one show to another, a lot of stuff will be the same on the tables anyway. So I did have a look in the competition area while I was there as well. I didn't take any pictures while I was in there. The competition standard looked very, very good. Some very impressive subjects in there. Did it make me want to enter the competition? I'm still not sure. It's still, competitions don't really appeal to me. It's not why I build models. I think getting into that side of it maybe forces a different mindset about the things that I would build. So at the moment, it's not really a thing for me, which is probably why I didn't take any pictures in there, because I'm just, you know, it's, if that's what people want to do, that's brilliant, and I enjoy looking at the competitions, enjoy looking at the things that win as well. You know, it can be a good way to measure your own progress as well, because if that's classed as a competition winner, do I think my work is comparable in some ways or even up to that standard? It's always looked to and trying to critique and evaluate your own work. But aside from that, the competitions don't really appeal that much. But that's just the way things are. So there we go. That's my quick kind of overview of the IPMS Avon show. And I can see already time is ticking on really quickly, so we're going to have to dive into the rest of the topics pretty quickly today. So, right, that's the end of that section. Next up will be what's been built in August. So, the August completions, the what's been built in August. So there was two completions in August. Really pleased with both of them. If you watch last month's update, you'll kind of know what one of them is at least. Or should do, if you remember, because I did say I was planning to get that finished very, very soon. However, first one is the Airfix 72nd scale Bristol Beaufighter TFX TF10. basically. So really enjoyed putting this together. It's a decent kit from Airfix. It's not overly detailed, nor is it an incredibly simple kit. There are a few areas that need a bit of attention, a few areas that need filling, but generally goes together quite well. The cockpit does have scope for improvement. What's in there when you put it together, the glass is quite clear on it, so there are areas that are pretty visible. So there are things I think could be improved in the cockpit area, you know, whether that's a little bit of scratch building or a little bit of finding some aftermarket detail sets, because I'm sure they exist. But generally the kit went together very well. All went together well, cleaned up any areas that needed filling, attention, seam lines, that kind of stuff. Was primed in UMP black primer, then used a mixture of colours to give it some random speckling using some Jussi van der Rosten splatter guards, and then the base colours were from Ammo MIGs. No, sorry, base colours were extra acrylics actually. So the extra dark sea grey and the sky underneath. Then lots of weathering using a variety of things. So, you know, chipped using sponge and paintbrush, using a mixture of metallics and dark greys. A lot of dirt applied to the panels as well using UMP clay-based washes, a little bit of oil work, and then yeah, everything kind of sealed in nicely with some Ammo MIG matte varnish, I think. So yeah, so really pleased with how this has come out. Really enjoyable kit. So number 2 on the completed list is what I mentioned last month as being very, very close to completion, which was the Ninja Prints bust of Ragnar Lothbrok. So not a kit, there's actually figure painting. First real kind of venture into trying to do flesh tones for me. So this was a real challenge, and I think I started this, I think it was December last year. I want to say it was December last year I started this. So it's taken quite a while to get it to finish. I think the first part of it I went through it very, very quickly. Got through all the flesh tones, which was, they were mainly done using AK Real Colors flesh tone set, but a lot of the work was done by thinning them very heavily and kind of almost like glazing the paint, that glazing method. So putting very, very light coats to build up different tones of color. So I'm really pleased with how it all came together. Aside from the AK paints, the rest of the paints were done mainly using Revell acrylics. Similar approaches, kind of glazing up the colors. Once I had all those base colors in, it was then a case of using various kind of methods with some washes and some oils just to add a little bit of color differentiation in a few areas. But generally all of this was just brush painted, and it's taken such a long time to, I can't remember exactly how all those techniques went, but nonetheless I'm really pleased with how the outcome, how this has come out in the end. The tattoo work on his head, that was all just hand painted from reference pictures. Reasonable attempt to copy some of the designs that were used in the TV show, but you know, for me it was quite an enjoyable process, albeit something I've not really done before, so there's always a little bit of fear and trepidation, but nonetheless I'm really pleased with how this has come out. I think it definitely would encourage me to do another one, and I kind of have to do another one because I do have a Ninja Prints Batman figure to do as well. So there we go, that's the what's been built for August 2024. So there we go, what's been built, all done. So next up is what's been bought. Right, what's been bought. So there's a long list, so you're going to have to pay attention because I'm going to have to rapidly go through these. So there's a whole bunch of purchases from the IPMS Avon show, starting with the 76 scale RAF recovery set from Airfix. So one of the aircraft kits I've got, because I have an idea, well, because I want to do a certain version, I'm going to end up with some spare parts, mainly a spare fuselage. I thought this would make a good set to basically use that fuselage for some other kind of Dio vignette type thing. Haven't really thought that through completely, but I know this will come in handy. Also picked up the A model 72nd scale de Havilland Dove. If you remember last year, I built the resin version, not from A model, can't remember who made it, but a resin version. Wasn't really happy with how that finished in the end. I kind of lost it towards the end of that build process. So I decided I'd pick up the short run injection molded version and see how I get on with that at some point. Picked up the Special Hobby Avro Anson Mark 1 early version. That will be to do an Irish Aircore version of that. Picked up a KP Avro 626. Then picked up 20th scale McLaren MP47 and a 20th scale Tamiya Lotus Type 102B. Now, those two F1 kits, they were for what I thought was very reasonable prices. So I was a little bit suspicious when I kind of bought them, because I thought they seemed cheap, or relatively cheap, but they seemed good in the box. So I think they were a bargain. I also picked up the 12th scale Meng MP44. It was a really good price, hence I couldn't turn it down. I know there are issues with the kit. Some people have issues with the way some of the construction goes together. Yeah, I don't build 12 scale very often, so I thought, you know, for a price this was shown at, it seemed a bit of a bargain, so I went with it. Also picked up a whole bunch of new paintbrushes just to refresh what's in the paintbrush stash, so to speak. Then when I was on holiday, picked up the Revell 24 scale VW T1 camper. Again, I know it's a kit people have issues with, but myself and my wife used to do a lot of camping, not in a camper van. We used to have a trailer tent, so this, you know, we always quite liked our camping. So I thought something like this would be nice little kit maybe to display on one of the shelves in the living room, kind of show our kind of camping origins. Also picked up the Airfix B17G in 72nd scale. It's one of their newer toolings. It's supposed to be quite a good kit. Not built one of them, not built a B17 in years, so I thought, oh, I'll just add one to the stash. And then after I got back from holiday, this turned up in the post, which is the Tamiya Renault 5 Turbo. So there is an unboxing review on the channel. If I remember, I'll stick a link in where I just do a quick run through of what's in the box and have a look at this. This is an old kit. It is an old Tamiya. It's a re-release, limited run re-release. So, and from the same vendor, I also picked up this Fujimi Nissan March, or Nissan Micra for those of us in Europe, because that's what it's called in Europe. So I think that's the Mark II Nissan Micra. Yeah, just for no other reason than it was kind of offered as a cheap deal. So I can't remember, I think it was 12 or 13 pounds from Kent Models while I was buying the Renault 5. So I thought, why not chuck it in? Could do something interesting with it at some point. If not, it sits in the stash for a while and I'll get to it eventually. So there we go. That is that's the what's been bought. So as you can see, there was quite a lot was picked up this month. And I'll probably have to go on a buying ban now until Telford at least. So there we go, what's been bought. Yeah, in progress. So in progress at the moment is three kits. I'm only going to kind of focus on two of them. So in progress is the Renault RE20. Last month you would have seen, I think I added the intercoolers to the monocoque. Since then I managed to get the engine put together, as will be on screen. So that's pretty much the engine block itself done, with most of the plumbing on it. Obviously there's a lot of stuff to go around the outside of it. That's kind of the next phase of work. So I've already started priming some of the kind of compressors and pipe work that will sit around the engine. So that's in progress, but that's basically just parts being primed. The main progress has just been on the engine block. I also started work on the Airfix 1/35th scale Ferret Scout. So basically the work on that I started with just mainly the cleanup of the interior. Managed to do some priming and some painting on the interior parts. I haven't entirely decided which of the hatches will be open. So I'm kind of doing some of the interior because some bits will be visible, some bits won't. So I'm just going to paint up the interior, start putting it together, and then make a decision on which hatches depending on. So it's not going to be super detailed. It's just to have that suggestion of some interior detail for the 1 or 2 hatches that will be open. So there are main 2 things in progress at the moment. Just over my shoulder here, there is the Itaglieri 24th scale Mark II Escort as well. So I've been doing a little bit of work on the body, mainly to fill in some of the sink marks. So there's very little progress on that. So that's just filling in a few sink marks with some model filler and, you know, shooting some primer just to see if the filler has actually sat in properly. So there's not really much to show. So that's basically, that's all that's been in progress for August. Again, mainly because I've been away for 2 weeks of August. So yeah, so there we go. So that's in progress done. So yeah, we've done built, bought, in progress, upcoming stuff or other random stuff. So as I mentioned already, R5 Turbo Tamiya kit, there's an unboxing review on the channel. Go have a look at that. The M3 video build, that also recently got released on the channel, so go have a look at that. I still do plan on releasing the Eduard 109 with just a music only version, just to see how that goes, but I want to leave some time between the original release and the release of that, just so people maybe forget about it and then click on it again. But again, I just thought it'd be interesting to see if that, you know, brings in maybe slightly different kind of viewers than what I normally do. A little bit of a trial, see how I get on. And there'll be this bench update, obviously. We'll go out in the next day or 2 once I get it fully edited together. And then I think next thing I'm working on is the AMT Chevy Cameo from last year. The Coca-Cola pickup truck. So that video's in editing at the moment. So that will come out over the next few weeks. So there we go. That's me done. So thank you all for painstakingly listening to me waffle on for the last however many minutes this has gone on for. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you like the video, give it a like, and feel free to leave a comment as well. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon. So bye bye for now.